So now, early morning, you're going to have to bear with my accent. I would like to start with a personal story, which was not part of my script, but when I heard the prayer this morning, it reminded me my first discussion with John Bryant. I'm French, as you can hear, and I was raised in Casablanca, Morocco. And my parents were smart enough to put my two sisters and myself in a public school. And in Morocco, still today, in public schools, you have Moroccan people, French, Italian, Spanish, Jewish, Christian, Protestant, Buddhist, Jewish, and everybody has tolerance for everybody else. That's why I love this country. It's still the same in the world we live today. That's an example of something we should talk about. So that's my little personal story. So I would like to start quoting a writer I like very much. His name is Milan Kundera. He's from Czechoslovakia, he's now French, and he has written a number of great books. And the quote is the following: "Stupidity comes from having an answer to everything." So I will start with a disclaimer. I have an answer to almost nothing. Okay. Some of my statements this morning, what I'm going to say, some of my comments, my proposals may appear candid, progressive, or aggressive. In fact, they are. But the reason I did it that way is that I want it to be thought-provoking. And I think this forum should be thought-provoking. I strongly believe that business can reignite growth by simply reconnecting with their real constituencies, their consumers, their employees, their communities. This would create the conditions for a more inclusive economy and raise the profile of the invisible class, which is the theme of our forum today. So let me address it through three different themes. Consumer and brands first, loyalty second, and community and corporate social responsibility. So consumer and brands. Brand marketers have pushed companies to put the brand above everything else. So now, in so many companies, the brand drives everything they do. No more the consumer, nor its people. As a consequence, decisions are made by those companies to serve the brand, not to serve the customer, not to serve its employees, not to serve its community. Marketing, in fact, should be exactly the opposite. The brand should be the reflection of who you are, not the reverse. This is how you create a connection with your consumer and how you do not have to use tricks from discounts to loyalty programs to keep your customer loyal. In brief, you and your consumer make the brand together. The brand is the reflection of this connection. Companies should talk about you, who are their consumer, their customers, not about them, the company. Company need to get out of what I call the me business. My product, my service, my company, my plan, my business model. That's what so many companies do today. And instead, they should answer the following questions. Who are we? What do we stand for? What is our aim in life? What do we do to achieve our aim? Unfortunately, so many companies cannot answer all of those questions. Today, Fortunes are spent on marketing, finding out everything about the customer and his or her needs, name, age, what they buy, when they buy, how they buy. Big data, databases are created. Investments are made, significant investment in databases, technologies, beacons, brochures, videos, data mining. And marketing and sales techniques are increasingly personalized by segment, niche, by category. You can narrow down to almost the level of the individuals so that they can offer their customer what they want. And what they want today is a more personalized or customized product or service. In fact, not at all. They use it to better sell, but not to customize. In fact, those companies are trying to have what's called global reach. They want to grow multi-countries all over the world and reach critical mass at a much, much higher level. To achieve this, the product must be appealing to everybody, from Italians to Spanish, from Spanish to Singaporeans, from Singaporeans to Americans. So the larger the target is, the least personalized the product can be. And it becomes colorless, neutral, beige, brown, faced with, and neutral. The product becomes a commodity, more and more. The problem then is that clients who are buying those commodities become less loyal. So to gain loyalty, companies start doing promotions and discounts. Look at retail around you. Everybody discounts. Everything is discounted, from these department stores to the other department stores. Everything, no exception, is discounted. So now when you have discount, obviously, you try to get the best possible discount, so you're not loyal, and it defeats the purpose. Discount has not created loyalty. So now you use the ultimate weapon, the loyalty program. Loyalty programs are expensive programs to build. You need database. You need, obviously, to give discount. You need to connect with your constituencies and so on. And that's obviously an issue. So I'm going to go on to my second point, which is loyalty with customers and employees. Because of what I just said, companies have to cope with lower margins due to the discount, and they have to cover the cost of the loyalty program. So to be provocative, I'm going to explain what they do is they go to suppliers, to all their suppliers, which are part of their communities, and try to squeeze them or change them. But also, because lower margins and because the cost of the loyalty program, sometimes they have to cut their own cost and lay off a few of their people. So companies ask their customers to be loyal when they are disloyal with their constituents, their people and their customers. I call it the paradox of loyalty. Communities is my third point. Community versus corporate responsibility. There was a time, some years ago, where companies were part of their community because they were less global. And when I say they were part of their community, very often they were making the community. They were influencing the community they were living in. So more than part. With globalization came global companies, again, global reach, going everywhere and so on. And this had a tremendous impact. Those global companies are now part of what's called the global community. That's good. But they are less part of the local community. Some keep doing a good job in their original community. And I cannot be in Atlanta without mentioning Coca-Cola, who does a great job in Atlanta and elsewhere, by the way. I would like also to mention Starbucks. Wherever it goes, they are part of their community. This is where Operation Hope is a formidable organization, entrenched in every smaller community across the country. So I would like to thank John and his team, John for creating Operation Hope, and his team. And I love you also. And I'll tell you how much I love you. 25 years ago was the creation of Operation Hope. 25 years ago, 300 people from 20 different countries, Americans, French, Italian, Spanish, Dutch, Chinese, and so on, worked 4 years relentlessly to open a place called Euro Disney. We hired 20,000 people 3 weeks before the opening. And those people who opened that park with me are in Paris today celebrating this 25th anniversary of the opening. So, and by the way, out of them, 80% are coming from 20 different countries just for that dinner taking place tonight, which I'm missing for you, John. And I would like to take the opportunity, obviously, to also thank all of the partners of Operation Hope who, again, help a lot of companies to entrench themselves into the local community, the best example being, obviously, Hope Inside. So thank you very much, all. However, too many large companies think that a corporate social responsibility program managed by a top executive on the 25th floor of a tower in Manhattan deals with the issue. It doesn't, unless or until they go back to local communities. Entrepreneurship is not global. It is part of each community. So let me now try to summarize. I personally think that bigger is not better. You get bigger by being better. You don't get better by being bigger. I have this strong belief. After a certain size, there are a few economies of scale. You have only economies of skills at a certain stage. And bigger is harder to grow and harder to manage. You need to take care of your people and your customers. It is better than developing a loyalty program. This defeats the inclusive economy. Instead, refocus on your communities, your employees, and your customers. Corporate social responsibility, thought globally and not locally. Growing artificial brands and not creating brands that people connect with have disconnected companies from their real constituencies. I am convinced that a company serving its community, its people, and its customer, a company being what it is and what it creates will be more profitable than a company serving the markets before it serves its people. That's what I call reconnecting. We have to change the incentives that encourage companies to choose boosting their stock price over investing in people and the real economy. And long term, it will make them more profitable. As a result, today, with a few exceptions, now I'm becoming a little more provocative. Business leaders, like politicians, communicate more than they decide. Cameras have eaten their brain. Henry Ford, at this time, George Merck, the founder of Merck, but also in politicians, de Gaulle, and I guess Kennedy and a number of American presidents, were thinking, what should I do? Today, most politicians and too many CEOs are thinking, what should I say? The result, dislocation of connections. This is why the people pain is indivisible. Economic stress, community breakdown, and the loss of social status and self-worth are the consequences of this disconnection. As a consequence, a huge erosion of trust. Richard Edelman, who will be with us later today, will tell us about trust. But I will tell you only two things, which are my convictions. There is today a huge gap between how companies are managed and led and what the young generation expect from them. And there is even a bigger gap between how politicians act today and what the invisible class expects from them. We should work on this in the next 2 days. To conclude, businesses has been part of the problem. Now, businesses must be part of the solution. Business and government need to work together, or even better, need to partner together. Whenever this has happened, it has really worked well. Local governments, universities, companies have built innovation hubs that create jobs and workers and driven growth. We've seen this in North America, in the United States, wherever it happened. But I can mention also Europe, where in Germany, business and government are working together to ensure apprenticeship and offer a path to prosperity in a very successful way. Governments also need to change many of the existing policies that hold us back, including reducing the red tape involved in opening businesses. We know that, we see it every day. By the way, America is so much better than France. But doesn't mean it's perfect either. But you know, opening businesses, getting certifications, as well as stopping unnecessary costs for business that hamper their ability to hire and invest. Businesses on their side need to make a broad commitment to focus on their stakeholders. Once the broader population sees and believes our joint commitment between government and business to achieve inclusive growth, trust will be restored. But that's my conclusion. Now, I need to introduce you the next speaker, Tony Schwartz. Oh, come on.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm John Hope Bryant. I just have to tell you, I'm sitting there like, I'm not sure you guys sort of know who you are listening to. This is a bad brother. This is an honorary black man. Look how he's turning pink, see? This is my brother, and we met in a small town in Germany.
In Germany.
At an economic conference, and I listened to him, but more importantly, I felt his energy. You know, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And life's about energy. Life's about a feeling, and I felt this human being behind this brain. And I fell in love with his brain and his heart and his soul. And I told him that one day, I want you on my board of directors. We're going to become good friends. He's like, whoa, 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 back up. And this is the CEO of Euro Disney, the founding CEO of Euro Disney. He was the CEO, the co-CEO of the World Economic Forum. In fact, we have the U.S. representative of the World Economic Forum who is here with us today. But Klaus Schwab, who really made me a global citizen, who founded, if you don't know what the World Economic Forum is, stop and search on your phone. If you don't know what Davos meeting is, stop and search on your phone. It is the most prominent meeting in the world of leaders. He ran that meeting. He also was a founding investor.
No, come on.
He was a founding investor, hold on, for Zipcar. Founding investor for eBay. Founding investor for Uber. Didn't help me one little bit when we were having dinner in Denver, and it was cold outside, and we needed an Uber car, and he's like, no, we're going to walk. We need to walk. You're the man. I need a limo or something pulling up here. He said, no, we're going to walk and do the French thing. We're going to walk. So we walked, and we had a wonderful conversation. But even then, he's a founding investor for Uber. Doesn't use his prominence. He just, he's like a client. He's got an app on his phone like everybody else. He's got to put his credit card in like he's paying himself, but everybody else. And I don't know if you heard, but he just said it very casually. He was a founding CEO for Euro Disney. They're meeting 25 years after the opening today, and yet, where is he? Come on. So I got a book coming out called The Memo at the end of this year, and it is really about having that as relationship capital, understanding people like this, stopping and meeting and somebody you don't know, somebody you don't have any natural commonality with, and becoming friends. You might learn something. You might get a friend for life. And let me tell you one last thing. As I listened to, I didn't know the anniversary of Euro Disney was happening. If I didn't know it, I probably would have told you to go. I felt guilty about it because I ain't paying you. But I'm broke. But one thing I'll tell you, Ambassador Young, who'll be here later, he's interviewing Hank Aaron this afternoon here on stage. Ambassador Young said that Dr. King, the day before he was assassinated, April 3rd, was wavering about staying in New York, where he was speaking, or going to Washington, D.C. for the Poor People's Campaign to meet with, quote, important people, or going back to Atlanta, or sleeping. He could have slept until noon because he had some time in his schedule. And I think Dr. King knew that his time was short, Philippe. So he decided he didn't want to be with important people in New York. He didn't want to be with important politicians in Washington, D.C. If his time was limited and his choices were few, he wanted to be with poor, striking garbage workers in Memphis, Tennessee. So he got on a plane at 6 that morning, against the will of his staff, Andrew Young and others, and flew to Memphis. And of course, we now know the story. That was his last flight anywhere, and he was assassinated the next day. But I think he did that on purpose. In fact, I have reason to believe that he knew that that's where his life would end, but he wanted his life to end on purpose. And he said, I don't know how long I'm going to live. We don't know how long we're going to live. We dang sure know we're going to die. But it's not about what if you don't know what you're willing to die for, you aren't fit to live. This man has lived a life that's on purpose. Every day you meet him, he's smiling, he's joyful, he's positive, he cares about people. His office is 20 feet from Steve Case. I don't know if you know that name, AOL founder. He could be pompous, he could be removed, he could be in limousines, but yet he chooses not to go in palaces in France, but to be in palaces in Atlanta. I love this man. Yeah.